that really cool game one between these two guys in the winner bracket, a semi-final here at the World Championship Series Asia Finals, spawning in the top left position, SKT1's Rain, currently up 1-0.
And here going up against him, losing that first map, the red Protoss on the bottom right, CJ.herO.
So they are in cross positions here, but the middle of the map is a relatively straight line from your natural ramp to your opponent's natural ramp, so it's not the longest rush distance in the world, of course.
Yeah.
But when you have, of course, units warping in, it's not too much of a difference. But it'll be interesting to see whether either of these players have a specific strategy prepared for this particular map.
I think on Daybreak they were partly going for such an aggressive attack because it's very common to do like a gradual expansion type of build.
Yeah.
And I think Hero just wanted to try and punish something like that. But he probably he shouldn't have skipped Observer. He just wanted to attack so fast that he skipped a basic necessity of covering his defenses.
That's a great point, actually, because if he went for that Observer first as well, like he had the gateway units already at the ramp, and he wouldn't have even had the force field off. He just kills the DC as soon as he sees it.
Yeah. That would have been a really big lead for him.
Yes, definitely.
Now, this map, any spawning position is possible, so even if you scout very early, there's no guarantee you're going to get into your opponent's base if they're on the last position, so you might as well not scout.
Sure.
So you're not playing it in a gambly way, like, well, the first, second position I can get info, but on the third not.
I think only vertical spawns are possible on this map. Correct me if I'm wrong.
You're right for the ESL version.
For the ESL version,
but
okay.
The Blizzard version, any position
any spawn is possible. Okay,
even
cool.
north-north.
North is possible. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Just wanted to double check that because some maps don't allow the same horizontal spawn on this particular map.
Yeah,
cool.
but this one is the same as the ladder version. So if you you know on ladder north is possible, and that's the Blizzard version. So the scary thing on this map in PvP, if you move out, there's so many places on the mini-map where there could be your opponent's pylons. You never know what's going to stab you in the back. So we do see sometimes quite defensive builds here on this map. Let's see what's going to happen.
There's a lot of good little nooks and crannies. I mean, like sneaking pylons in a third base is like maybe the most in-your-face kind of approach that we normally see.
Yeah,
but
like
around
right
the
here.
fourth base location is also really popular, behind the mineral line, for example. And then you have the two bases off to the side of the map and also the opposite corner of your opponent. There's just so many places to hide a pylon if you don't mind it not being directly in your opponent's face. So we'll see what happens here. And a scouting probe from Rain going to get taken up before he sees too much, but I believe he did see that robo.
Yep, he got to see that robo, and that should, well, he's still going to go on with the Twilight. Sometimes when you see your opponents on Robo, you could make a Stargate at that very moment and going to be making some Phoenixes. Maybe Rain just wants to stick with what he knows. He has some different plans for it. And seeing that Robo he does know is not going to be DT. So potentially Rain could go something like 4-gate blink, omitting the Robo and the Observer entirely, just getting tons of units, because he knows he won't have to fear DTs. He doesn't need detection. And this map is not the type of map where blinking up into the base is very popular anyway. So you can totally play without Observers so long as you know your opponent's not doing DTs. And he has that confirmation now. Yeah,
that's a really good point, actually. For example, on a map like Ohana, there are a lot of places on the edge of the cliff there where you can blink directly into the main from somewhere completely opposite. But here on this map, you have to go in through the natural or through the third, and it's significantly more likely that your opponent will see something.
And there's such a big chasm here that you can't blink large portions of Stalkers, and if you blink up and you get caught, there's only one place to go back, and that can sometimes be abused by the defensive player with force fields, disallowing you to reaching that area, and then you can't even blink away. Now, as we see indeed, Rain is choosing to completely omit the robotics facility. He's just going for 3 gates blink Stalkers, and he's going to be trying the following move. He's going to come here with his Stalkers, blink one Stalker up onto this ramp to get
and then
vision.
blink the others on top.
Exactly. But that's the usual move against a one-base defensive opponent. When he sees this Nexus, that'll be his first priority. He's first going to cancel that. And since he sees that Nexus and cancels it, he knows that he has a nice lead. He's going to take his own Nexus right away afterwards. Just wait and see.
Well, a lot of minerals have been invested to putting down that Nexus. So if Rain can get away with the cancel and try and get an economic lead himself, for sure he's going to do so. But actually, the Nexus is very close to completing. And here we go. He's going to be moving up the ramp with these Blink Stalkers, blinking them back now. And a couple of units getting picked off here from HeRO. Offensive blink forward has happened. The second Immortal has joined the fray. The first Immortal has gone down now, and the second one is being targeted. But it looks like Rain not quite having enough units here, and HeRO is going to hold.
Yeah, and that was just a really solid hold from HeRO. It was a bad way to engage for Rain. He chose to blink in very late on top of that Immortal. And now with that Guardian Shield, the Immortal is going to take so many hits, and there's no blink cooldown right now that HeRO will be able to defend effortlessly here in this follow-up. The next Immortal is out, a second Immortal is being produced, and HeRO will hold no problem. Rain is about to GG any second. There we go. Here at the bottom right position, the blue Protoss. His name is CJ.herO. In the top left position, his adversary will be SKT1 Rain, the red Protoss.
And these guys so far, I don't know if they're like concealing strategies or they know so much about the other player they really want to get at each other's throats super early or anything like that. But they've been so aggressive so far in this series. We saw really, really quick Colossi and quick DTs in game number 1, and we saw a very, very good hold from HeRO in game number 2 after Rain went for those super quick Blink Stalker push as well. So I wonder what we're going to be seeing in game number 3. Now this is more of a Blink Stalker friendly map, I would say, because a lot of the cliff isn't like in the natural or the third base, so it's a little bit more frustrating to have to scout for all of that, especially going into the main base from that sort of this position right here.
Yeah, this is especially like on a 2 versus 2 base situation, you still have moments where you blink in, you try to kill as many probes as possible. And then you can blink out one sometimes. Base blink type of base.
No, it's more sort of you go into the macro kind of stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Like Antigua Cloud, they're super blink observer type of maps, but we see it a lot on Ohana, but more like just to get an advantage going into the macro rather than going for a kill move. Now, I have to comment here, stylistically, these Koreans, these two players here, SKT1 Rain and CJ.herO, they're playing a lot more all-in-ish type of play than I'm used to seeing in, for example, in Europe.
Yeah, sure. Well, even compared to what we see.
It's quite strong in comparison to Korea. I don't think we're lagging behind very much at all, if at all.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, and our style is very differently, much more defensively. We do have attack moves like that, but not quite as much. And it's just a little bit of a stylistic difference, and it has not been working out pretty aggressive so far.
Well, the thing is, I mean, even when we've been watching stuff like, for example, Rain in the GSL, we've been seeing how good his late game control is.
Exactly.
So it's also a little bit, for those who might have been watching some of his recent games, you could argue it's a little bit out of character for him to go for 2 really, really quick aggressive plays.
Yeah, well, admittedly in the first game he did do DTs, but he was expanding off of it.
Yep, sure.
His second game was a bit uncharacteristic for him and he lost it.
Yeah.
So you could almost construe that he wants to do something that involves an expansion again. He's doing his game 1 build where he gets super fast 2 gases with the Zealot, and probably going to follow up with at least 1 sentry, maybe 2. Does that mean he's going to go for DT expand again? I don't know.
Not necessarily, but certainly HeRO wouldn't rule it out.
No, no he can't rule it out anymore. It could be a Stargate this game. Ohana is pretty good for Stargate, and it would also work out pretty well because he hasn't done that yet in this series.
Yeah, so a second gateway coming down for HeRO at the moment. Did that probe act? Oh my goodness, will Rain realize that he hasn't actually killed off that probe and that it might still be in his base? He is sending the Zealot back inside, so yeah, he knows that the probe is somewhere.
He doesn't know, but he just wants to be sure. He realized there was this tiny moment where the ramp was not accounted for, and the probe is 99% sure gone, but not 100%.
Oh,
and this
so
is just
sick.
so smart.
Good
so
star
experienced.
sense.
Yeah. Very, very good star sense. Very good experience and methodical play here coming out of Rain. And of course, not all is lost for HeRO. He still gets an entire look around the base. So this is still a really nice move by HeRO. It wasn't just like a potential proxy pylon for the DTs that he's going, which would have been nice though. But he does get a very good look here at 2-gate Robo. And isn't that interesting? You scout your opponent's Robo for a certainty, and you still go for the Dark Shrine?
Yeah, that's. I think a lot of mind games must be going on here, because that is the counterintuitive approach. It's like you could cancel the Dark Shrine and go for something else, but you see the Robo and you're going for it anyway. Really interesting choice there from HeRO. It's something that could be like super brilliant in terms of mind games if he gets it to work for him, or it could just backfire completely.
Yeah,
So we'll have to wait and see.
And then you could have a lot of internet heroes saying like, well, why did you go DTs against Robo Observer, lol.
Yeah.
But it could also be one of the most genius things, like he's following it up with Blink right away.
Yeah.
So he's not going to say this DTs will win me the game and I'm not going to make anything else.
Sure.